A friend of mine worked for a big server company. At night, he would just make sure everything ran fine. Since it had clients globally, it needed someone on hand to deal with issues would they arise. He did it remotely from home, proper comfy-ass job. Sometimes he would host a game of Quake 3 Arena using his work servers. People would join, come and go, the usual, but one guy was always the first on the server within seconds of it starting up. He wouldn't leave until the server went down, so he got talking to this guy and became quite good friends. I spoke to him as well a few times, seemed like a really normal dude. It was rare that I could get on and do a late one, since I worked a normal 9 to 5 a.m. job. My mate asked him where he was from. We guessed he was from the UK since he was using British slang. He called himself Tomo, so we assumed his name was Thomas. Turns out, Tomo was right near his place of work. It was about an hour's drive from where my mate lived to where he worked, so it was no big deal to have a few pints with the guy. So he asked if they should meet up and have a couple of pints, then blast some Quake 3 Arena later on. Tomo said he could never meet anyone. In jest, my mate laughed it off, saying he wouldn't rape him or anything, maybe just tickle his anus a little. Thomas laughed back and said he would like to meet up for a pint, and it would be for a laugh, but he can't do that anymore. My mate asked why. Tomo said, "Because I'm dead." My mate was freaking by this point. I had a barrage of text messages the next day. Sadly, like most normal people who got to get up, my phone was on silent, so I never got to witness any of it. My mate was obviously dubious at first. He thought he was just jesting, so he decided to check into him a bit. Turns out his IP was a loopback, IP 127001. My mate freaked out. This means it was someone having a joke. It wouldn't make sense that this Tomo lived close by. More than likely, a trick. So he drove to the office to find out who was messing with him. No one was there, and the place is locked down with really high security. So there was no compromise from anyone other than a person who works there. Nothing. No one was there. He took his laptop and continued to talk to Tomo. He thought maybe someone had compromised the servers. With him installing shit he shouldn't on work servers and hosting games, he decided a good idea is to wipe it clean and make sure it wasn't his fault if there was a compromise in the system. He never understood how there was a compromise, but it must have been the case. He was telling Tomo that he's got to reinstall the server, and Tomo responded to him differently. Instead of, "Okay, mate," it was just that, "Okay, period." Like the one you get from a pissed off girlfriend or something. He initiated the wipe. No scary finale or anything, but Tomo never appeared again. Even when he reinstalled the server and played Quake, Tomo never came back. After a bit of digging later on, it turns out Tomo was a nickname of a guy by the name of Thomas. And of course, he died right outside the building, falling from scaffolding, and died instantly. To this day, my mate feels like he killed him again. I've been on 4chan for about 10 years now. Probably the biggest X-related thing that happened to me was deciding that shadow people weren't possibly real. And I wanted to go out and prove that. Being in high school at the time, I didn't have much at my disposal. But what I did have was the ability to treat them like real people. Before I'd close the door to the house, I would respond with a, "Okay, all who wants in, now's the time," and then count down from 5 or so before closing the door. I'd do that going into the garage, the car to school, and etc. Eventually, I would start to hear more noises than usual in the dark, and see more dark spots in my room at night. I decided to stop because shit was getting too weird for me. I wouldn't hold the door, I wouldn't count down, and I stopped acknowledging them completely. A day or two after that, random shit would start falling off desks and windowsills. Nails would suddenly become loose. Stuff would fall from anywhere that I had stuff sitting. Not in the, "oh, I must not have set it down properly" sort of way. These were stacks of books or glasses of water that had been placed close to the edge but not over it, or things that had been sitting just fine for weeks beforehand, or hanging on a nail that was hammered into the supports. A few days after that, things stopped falling and things went back to normal. I still see a lot more dark spots than usual though. I think reading about skinwalkers was my biggest mistake ever. It reminds me of something I never wanted to think about again. It gets more horrifying for me to know that other people experience something similar. Be kid and play outside a lot with friends. Live in village next to forest. The nearest house to the forest wall belongs to a friendly old man. He gives us candy and treats us like his grandsons. As time goes on, he becomes weaker and has to use a cane to walk. One day, his attitude changes abruptly. Sits in his rocker on his porch, staring into the village. Doesn't recognize us anymore. Sometimes stands up to go inside. This goes on for a week. Parents tell us to leave him alone because he's facing death. We still ride our bikes past his house. One day, a kid notices that he doesn't use his cane to walk. His movements are very stiff though. Other kid moans that he doesn't get candy anymore, and we should observe him to check if he's eating them himself. That's kid logic. Hide in a bush behind a window and peek inside. The old guy just stands up straight, something we thought he wasn't able to do, in the middle of his living room, and has an emotionless and blank expression on his face. I still remember his hands weirdly gesticulating with nobody. All of us get creeped out. We run back to our bikes, hear a door opening. Old guy comes out and opens his mouth, but no voice can be heard. Reasonable kid asks if he needs help. He doesn't reply, but gets on his knees and pulls sticks covered in candy cane paper out of his trousers. "He's crazy," a friend commentates. We leave. Next day, the ambulance and police investigate the house. Apparently, the old man has been found dead in his bed. Overhear a conversation between paramedic and a cop. I remember it like it was yesterday. "Unfortunately, he's been dead for over a week. Think that's strange since we saw the old man alive a day before. Village is shocked about the death, but everyone believes the paramedic made a mistake. Ride my bike days later past Grandpa's house. See a human-like figure standing in the forest, watching the house. Go home and develop sleeping problems. I'd put it down as a weird childhood experience that could be explained with logic, but many things are characteristics of skinwalkers. Thanks, X." Hey X, this literally just happened. Not in any way paranormal, but still brick-shitting to me. Live in quintessential sitcom-esque suburban neighborhood. Cloud, foggy, wet evening when sun is still up, but is about to set. Warm enough to leave the window to my house open. I'm just watching random shit on TV. At some point, hear weird as fuck hissing sound coming from outside. Slight nope, but continue watching TV. About 30 seconds later, hear it again, closer, and more clearly. Seems to be coming right out of the sky. Elevated nope, but gather the fortitude to go outside and look around. Inspect area around front yard, but don't see anything. Hear hissing a third time. Look behind house. Giant fucking red leering face is floating in the sky in the woods behind my house. Has huge, neatly arranged teeth forming a wicked smile and slanted eyes. Overall resembling some tribal demon mask. Somehow illuminated from within and then suddenly goes dark. Left with dark roundish thing bigger than a house floating in the sky. At this point, my legs are trembling from the shock, and I can barely stand. After about 10 seconds of utter disbelief, it hits me that what I'm looking at is just a low-flying hot air balloon. My face when some asshole fiendishly detailed a hot air balloon and is taking the time to fly barely 300 feet up just to fuck with people who may happen to spot him. The hissing sound I was hearing was just a friend using his gas burner, which also illuminates the balloon from within. Promptly overcome with the urge to cuss the asshole out, but decide to instead call the cops on him. I was pretty sure flying that low was illegal as shit. After I call them, I never hear anything about this again, and the balloon cleared the neighborhood completely. Pace around my yard a bit, then go back inside. This just happened barely an hour ago. If they catch this guy and report about it in the local news, I will update you guys. I still can't believe I fucking fell for this shit. Be me, be a couple years ago, be 20. Just moved out of parents' house. New house is old as hell. Most of the furniture was left by the old tenants. Dead people shit, fuck yeah. Neighborhood is alright, but not great. Throw a rager first night to celebrate. Buddies buy me some a 2.6 of Fireball and a cube of beer. Finna die tonight.mp3. Start the party off right, shotguns all around. Start to feel really messed up, like way too drunk from what I've had. Sometime during the night, I black out. Wake up the next morning on a concrete floor. Pitch black. Hungover and afraid. Start feeling the walls. Also concrete and very narrow. Search around for a bit and find a light switch. Click. The light illuminates an extremely small room. Like I'm talking small. 10 feet long by 4 feet wide by 5 feet high. Where the fuck am I? See a trap door on the roof and try and open it. The door has a little give, but it's clear something is on top of it. Give it all I got and manage to get it open. The thing on top was a large rug. Can't move it aside from where I am, so I crawl under it. Get out from under it. I'm in my living room. What? Phone immediately lights up with texts and missed phone calls. Where the fuck are you, man? This isn't funny. Call me. What? Call one of my friends and he freaks the fuck out on me. What the fuck, Anon? We were looking for you all night. Ask him what happened last night. Man, you sort of just walked off somewhere in your house without saying anything, and we couldn't fucking find you. Tell him I was in a crawlspace type thing under the carpet in my living room. That's impossible. I was in your living room all night. I stayed up to see if you came home. My face went. Ended up living that house for a couple months, but moving because of more spooky shit like that. B17. Can't sleep. It's 3:01 a.m. Note the time. Quietly sneak into the kitchen to grab a late night snack. Do it for the noms. Reheating some leftover spaghetti. Hear a faint growling/clicking noise. Door in the kitchen leads straight to the backyard and into the woods. Look out the door window and into the tree line, approximately 75 yards away. See what looks like 2 white dots in the darkness. Nothing's moving though. Go back to food and eat the deliciousness. Om nom nom. Done. Putting plate in the dishwasher when something catches the corner of my eye. Look over to see a tall, lanky, shadowy figure hunched over at the back door. At least 8 feet tall. Jesus Christ, its eyes. Looks like 2 solid white circles the size of softballs. Looking right at me. Fuck, nope, not JPEG. It tries to turn the doorknob, but it's locked. Scream bloody murder as every hair is standing on end. Holy fucking goosenips. Parents rush into the kitchen, worried about a burglar or something. Tell them what I saw and point to the door. Figure is gone. Dad opens the back door and looks around with a bat. Nothing's there. Parents tell me I'm seeing things and to go get some rest. Go upstairs to the bedroom, still a bit shaken. Turn off lights and laying in bed, still restless. Hear a slow scratching sound at my window. Fuck my life. Hiding under my covers with only a tiny hole for me to peer through. Look over at window with the blinds slightly open to see outside. It is staring right at me. Those big white fucking eyes. Too terrified to move or sleep. Just hide under the covers until sunrise. Worst night of my life. After that, I would hear those same sounds on random nights until I moved to college. I'm still paranoid as fuck and always make sure to lock my doors and windows. Just writing about it again gives me goosebumps. I don't even eat spaghetti anymore. And I still have no idea what the hell it was.